What do David Beckham, Didier Drogba, Landon Donovan, Sebastian Giovinco, Robbie Keane, David Villa, Steven Gerrard, and Kaká all have in common? They've never won the CONCACAF Champions League because Liga MX teams absolutely dominate the competition. The CONCACAF Champions League is North America's version of the UEFA Champions League. It's where cup winners and champions of every league in the region clash to see who reigns supreme, and more importantly, who gets a ticket to the Club World Cup. Major League Soccer and Liga MX clubs have been battling for years to be known as the best in CONCACAF. But if winning the Champions League is any measure of success, Mexico is ahead by leaps and bounds. In 55 years of CONCACAF tournament play, Mexican clubs have lifted a regional championship 32 times, while American clubs have only won twice, both back in the chaotic and now defunct Champions Cup era. The last American winners were the LA Galaxy 17 years ago. And unfortunately for LA, due to financial circumstances, MLS's one and only FIFA Club World Cup appearance was canceled when that year's tournament was abandoned. Soon after, the Champions Cup was reorganized into the modern Champions League format. Since the reformation, no US or Canadian club has ever won the Champions League. The closest they've come has been a number of runs in the quarter and semifinal rounds, with only 2 MLS teams making the final. For a league that wants to be one of the top 10 in the world by 2022, it needs to become the best in its region first. But it's not for a lack of trying. MLS has said the Champions League title is a major goal for them, and they've done almost everything to help its team succeed in the CCL, from rescheduling matches to rallying league-wide support for finalists. While it's gonna take time to compete with Liga MX's history, ingrained football culture, and demanding fan base, where they can close the gap most right now is with money. On the surface, MLS's best should be competing with Liga MX's top teams. In a breakdown of the most valuable clubs in North and South America, 2 Liga MX teams make the top 10, one less than MLS, and the top 30 features 7 Liga MX teams, while MLS has 6. But value doesn't always mean success. What typically does is how you spend that money. All around the world, the top teams in every region are usually the ones who pay their players the most. It's a fact of life in modern football. And that's where the difference between Mexico and the US really shows. Let's take the 2015 CCL final for example. Perennial Mexican powerhouse Club America versus consistent MLS contenders Montreal Impact. Montreal make a great comparison here. They're a strong Canadian club with a lot of history and demanding supporters. Over 61,000 people packed the Olympic Stadium to will them on to a victory. But in the end, Club America's quality proved too much. It ended 5-3 on aggregate, and America lifted their 6th Champions League trophy. But maybe that shouldn't come as a shock. When you compare each club's most influential players in this final, America's goal scorer Uribe Peralta's base wage could pay for the annual salary of Ignacio Piatti, Montreal's highest paid player, 6 times over. Meanwhile, America's hat-trick hero Carlos Quintero made $1.8 million that year, while Montreal's most valuable player in the final, Caleb Malice, made a league minimum $60,000. After the loss, it's no wonder that former Montreal coach Frank Lopez acknowledged the golfing quality on the field. But what's interesting is, it's not like MLS doesn't shell out for quality players. Looking deeper, the top 20 highest paid players from both leagues that year show MLS players take the top 9 spots, with the first Liga MX player coming in at 10th with $2.6 million. This is all possible thanks to MLS's designated player rule. However, remove the highest earners from the equation, and therein lies the rub for MLS. The discrepancy between big names and the squad players who support them is enormous. For example, Seattle's Clint Dempsey was guaranteed $4.5 million in 2015. Veteran forward and teammate Chat Barrett, $100,000. And guess who eliminated Seattle in the 2016 Champions League? Club America. In 2014, a study by Sportmail ranked leagues around the world by average annual player salaries. Liga MX ranked 10th with an average of $400,000, while MLS's was $210,000. Good for the 22nd spot. Remove the top 10 paid players in MLS that year, and that average falls to $127,000. Perhaps most staggeringly, in 2016, according to numbers released by the MLS Players Union, the top 20 paid players in MLS, that's Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, Kaká, Sebastian Giovinco, amongst others, earned 48% of the league's total compensation of $151 million. It's a sobering visualization. While MLS will do everything it can to grow its popularity, and big names no doubt help that, the wage discrepancy manifests itself in quality disparity and seems to cripple them on the international stage. But it's a question of priorities. What defines a top league in the world? Is it expensive superstars or regional dominance? As the league grows, MLS needs to pay higher top to bottom wages in order to compete with the best of the best in the Americas. Otherwise, they'll be playing catch up with Liga MX forever.